morning sun painted the grand mansion in golden light, its tall windows reflecting wealth and power. To the world outside, this house was perfect, an elegant palace owned by a millionaire admired by society. But behind those polished doors, there lived a truth that no one could imagine. On that bright morning, the silence of riches was broken by the desperate sobs of a child. A little girl, only 7 years old, knelt on the polished hardwood floor of the kitchen. A silver bucket lay overturned beside her, its water spreading across the floor like tears. Her small hands trembled as she pressed one against the ground, blood dripping from a fresh cut caused by the shards of a broken glass. Her soft blue dress clung to her tiny body as she wept. "My hand hurts so much," she cried, her voice echoing through the empty hall. But the only person standing near her did not comfort her. Instead, her stepmother, adorned in jewels and a flowing gown, looked down with cold disapproval. She didn't bend down to help. She didn't offer a word of care. In fact, there was almost satisfaction in her eyes, as if the child's pain justified the burden she had placed on her. At that very moment, footsteps echoed in the hallway. The man of the house, a figure of authority and power, was about to walk in, and the scene he would witness would change everything forever. The little girl's life had not always been like this. Once, she had known warmth. She remembered her mother's laughter, the way her arms felt safe, the bedtime stories whispered at night. But those memories were faint now, because her mother had passed away years ago, leaving behind a void money could never fill. In her absence, another woman entered their lives, her stepmother. To outsiders, the woman appeared perfect, graceful, generous, the picture of elegance. She played the role of a loving wife flawlessly in public. But when the doors closed and no one was watching, her mask fell away. For the little girl, life became a list of endless chores. She scrubbed floors, polished silver, and carried burdens far heavier than her arms could bear. Every mistake was punished, every slip met with sharp scolding. And she bore it all in silence, never telling her father, because she believed it would only add to his stress. Her father, a millionaire businessman, was rarely home. He was respected in boardrooms, admired by strangers, but absent where it mattered most, beside his daughter. He believed his wealth provided everything she could ever need. What he didn't see was that what she needed most was not diamonds or mansions. She needed love. Slipped, a glass crashed onto the ground, and before she could pull away, its sharp edge cut her palm. Tears spilled down her cheeks, not only from the pain, but from the loneliness of having no one to turn to. The stepmother's voice sliced through the room like a knife. "Look what you've done. Clumsy child. Clean it up." The little girl pressed her injured hand to her chest, her tiny body trembling. She cried out louder than she ever had before, her voice carrying through the vast marble halls of the mansion. And that cry reached the ears of the one man who could make a difference. Her father, who had just returned early from an important meeting. The door to the kitchen opened, and there he stood, tall, polished in a fine suit, leather briefcase in hand. But the sight before him froze him in his tracks. His little girl was crumpled on the floor, clutching her wounded hand, sobbing uncontrollably. Water and blood mixed on the hardwood floor. And beside her, his wife stood with a face full of cold annoyance. For a moment, time stood still. The clash of wealth and suffering painted a picture he could no longer ignore. He dropped his briefcase. Sunlight poured in behind him, but the brightness of the morning couldn't chase away the shadows in that room. His daughter's sobs cracked something deep inside him, something he had locked away for years in his pursuit of fortune. He saw her trembling shoulders, her pale cheeks streaked with tears, her fragile body shaking in fear. And in her eyes, he saw something even more heartbreaking. The uncertainty of whether her own father would protect her or abandon her again. In that moment, memories flooded back. He remembered his late wife holding their newborn baby, whispering, "She's the most precious gift we'll ever have. Promise me you'll always protect her." How had he drifted so far from that promise? For years, he had told himself he was doing his best, building an empire to provide comfort and safety. But comfort without love was empty. And now, before him, his daughter was living not like a cherished child, but like a servant in her own home. His eyes shifted to his wife. She was as beautiful as ever, draped in jewels and a crimson gown. But in her eyes, there was no warmth, no trace of maternal care, only irritation at being caught in this scene. The millionaire suddenly realized the cruel truth. The woman he trusted to care for his daughter had instead crushed her spirit. Without another thought, he knelt to the floor, ignoring the water soaking into his expensive suit. His trembling hands reached for his daughter's injured hand. She flinched at first, unsure she could trust even him. But then, recognizing his touch, she let him hold her. He pressed a white handkerchief to the cut, trying to stop the bleeding. But he knew he wasn't just healing a wound. He was trying to mend years of neglect, silence, and pain. Tears stung his own eyes as he whispered, "I'm so sorry, sweetheart. I should have been here. I should have seen." For the first time in years, the little girl felt the warmth of her father's embrace. And in that embrace, she didn't feel like a shadow anymore. She felt like his daughter. That moment marked a turning point. The millionaire, who once commanded boardrooms and sealed deals worth millions, now realized the greatest investment he had ever made was standing right before him, his child. Not his wealth, not his empire, but her smile, her happiness, her future. He made a silent promise as he held her close. This ends today. No more silence. No more neglect. From now on, you'll never cry alone again. And as the sunlight streamed to the tall windows, it no longer felt false. It carried with it the beginning of a new warmth, one built not on wealth, but on love. Because sometimes it takes the cry of a child to awaken a father's heart.